of Adam, and two daughters of Eve will appear and put an end to this.
Heroes.
There's no mistake. Aslan is...
Aslan, we need you.
If it's a war Aslan wants, it's a war he shall get.
Far greater than our own.
Numbers do not win a battle.
No, but I...
Before Narnia became a legend, the Broken Bar, it was almost a disaster. Today on Hidden Real Facts, I'm revealing the secrets behind The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that Disney never wanted you to know. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is a fantasy movie released in 2005. It was directed by Andrew Adamson, who also helped write the script along with Anne Peacock and the writing team of Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. The movie is based on the 1950 book The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is part of the Chronicles of Narnia series written by C.S. Lewis. This film is the first movie in the Narnia film series. It was made by Walt Disney Pictures and Walden Media, and released by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. The movie stars William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, Skander Kanes, and Georgie Henley as Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy Pevensie. They play 4 children who are sent away from London during World War II to stay in the countryside. While there, they discover a wardrobe that leads to a magical world called Narnia. In Narnia, they join forces with the lion Aslan, who is voiced by Liam Neeson, and fight against the evil White Witch, Jade is played by Tilda Swinton. The movie first premiered on December 7, 2005, at a special royal event. It was released in theaters on December 8 in the United Kingdom and December 9 in the United States. The film was a huge success with both critics and audiences. It made about $745 million worldwide, compared to its $180 million budget, making it one of the biggest movies of 2005. A longer version of the movie, called the Extended Edition, was released on DVD in December 2006. Together, both versions became the best-selling and highest-earning DVD in North America that year, making over $332 million. The film won the Academy Award for Best Makeup and was also nominated for Best Sound Mixing and Best Visual Effects. It won awards at the BAFTAs for makeup and hair and received nominations for costumes and special effects. The music from the movie was also highly praised, earning nominations at the Golden Globe and Grammy Awards. The movie was later followed by 2 sequels, Prince Caspian in 2008 and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader in 2010. While these later movies were not as successful, all 3 movies together earned about $1.5 billion around the world. Plot: in September 1940, during World War II, the Pevensie children Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy are sent away from London after their home is damaged in an air raid. They go to live in the large house of Professor Kirk in the countryside. One day, while playing hide-and-seek, Lucy hides in a wardrobe and unexpectedly finds herself in a strange, snowy world. She meets a faun named Mr. Tumnus, who tells her she is in the land of Narnia. He plays a soft tune on his flute that makes Lucy fall asleep. When she wakes up, Tumnus explains that he was supposed to turn her over to the White Witch, who has cursed Narnia to remain in cold winter forever with no Christmas. He feels guilty and sends Lucy safely back through the wardrobe. Back in the real world, Lucy discovers that hardly any time has passed. Lucy later returns to Narnia. Edmund follows her inside and meets the White Witch, Jadis. She pretends to be kind and tells him she is the Queen of Narnia. She gives him Turkish delight and promises to make him a king if he brings his brother and sisters to her. When Lucy tries to convince Peter and Susan that Narnia is real, Edmund lies and claims she is just pretending. However, Professor Kirk believes Lucy might be telling the truth. After breaking a window while playing, the four children run away from the housekeeper and hide inside the wardrobe together. This time, they all enter Narnia. Peter scolds Edmund for lying and makes him apologize to Lucy. Soon, they learn that Mr. Tumnus has been taken away by the White Witch because Edmund unknowingly told her about him. The children meet two talking beavers, who explain that Aslan, the true ruler of Narnia, is returning. They also tell the children about a prophecy that says when two sons of Adam and two daughters of Eve become kings and queens, the White Witch's rule will end. Edmund secretly runs off to see the White Witch, but she is angry that he came alone. She sends wolves to hunt down the others, led by a wolf named Mogrim. Edmund is locked up, where he meets Mr. Tumnus again. Meanwhile, the children and beavers escape, but the witch turns Mr. Tumnus into stone. As they travel, the group meets Father Christmas, which shows that the witch's power is weakening. He gives each child a gift for protection. Lucy receives a healing drink and a dagger. Susan gets a magic horn and a bow, and Peter is given a sword and shield. They finally reach Aslan's camp and see that he is a mighty lion. Mogrim attacks Lucy and Susan, but Peter defeats him. Aslan's army rescues Edmund and brings him back safely. The White Witch comes to Aslan's camp and demands Edmund's life, saying ancient magic gives her the right to punish traitors. Aslan secretly agrees to take Edmund's place. That night, Lucy and Susan follow Aslan and sadly watch as the witch kills him on the stone table. The witch believes she has won. However, Aslan comes back to life, explaining that deeper magic has saved him. He takes Lucy and Susan to the witch's castle and breathes life back into all the stone prisoners. Meanwhile, a great battle begins between the two armies. Peter leads Aslan's forces, but the White Witch nearly wins. Edmund is badly hurt when he breaks the witch's wand to protect Peter. Aslan returns in time to defeat the witch, and she is finally killed. Lucy uses her healing drink to save Edmund. The four children are then crowned kings and queens of Narnia. 15 years later, the siblings are now adults and still ruling Narnia. While chasing a white deer, they discover the wardrobe again and step back into the real world. Once they return, they are children once more, and no time has passed. Professor Kirk listens as Peter begins to explain, and tells them to go on. In a final scene, Lucy tries to open the wardrobe again. Professor Kirk explains that he has also tried, and says they will return to Narnia one day, when they least expect it. The exhaustive casting journey for the Pevensie siblings. The casting process for the four young Pevensie children in the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, 2005, stands as one of the most meticulous and exhaustive endeavors in modern family fantasy filmmaking. Director Andrew Adamson, fresh off his successes with the Shrek franchise, approached the adaptation of C.S. Lewis's beloved novel with a commitment to authenticity that extended far beyond visual effects and set design. Beginning in earnest in 2002, the production team sifted through over 2,500 audition tapes submitted by aspiring young actors from across the United Kingdom and beyond. This initial deluge of submissions was narrowed down through a rigorous series of in-person meetings with approximately 1,800 children, many of whom traveled from remote areas to London-based casting sessions. From there, the field was further refined via the intensive workshops involving around 400 candidates, where potential Pevensies were tested not just for individual performance but for sibling chemistry, a crucial element given the film's emotional core revolves around the familial bonds of Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Casting director Pippa Hall, a veteran of British cinema known for her work on period dramas and ensemble pieces, played a pivotal role in orchestrating this marathon. Hall's philosophy emphasized naturalism over polished theatricality. She saw children who embodied the everyday resilience of wartime evacuees rather than precocious performers. The workshops, often lasting several days, included improvisational exercises simulating the chaos of the Blitz, archery lessons to mimic Peter's leadership arc, and even mock debates to capture Susan's budding maturity. These sessions were grueling for the young participants, with some families reporting travel expenses that strained budgets. Yet the process yielded a final quartet whose on-screen rapport would become legendary. Adamson himself noted in later interviews that the chemistry tests were the true litmus. He would screen footage of the children interacting off-script, looking for the unforced affection and rivalry that mirrored Lewis's prose. William Moseley, who ultimately landed the role of the eldest brother Peter Pevensie, was among the earliest discoveries in this odyssey. At just 15 years old when casting began, Moseley had scant professional experience via a single uncredited extra appearance in the 1998 TV adaptation of Cider with Rosie, where Hall had spotted his quiet intensity amid a crowd of the villagers. Recalled by Hall years later, Moseley was summoned for an initial reading in late 2002, where he delivered Peter's defiant lines from the novel's early chapters with a steely resolve that belied his youth. However, the competition was fierce. Over 3,000 boys auditioned for Peter, many with theater backgrounds from prestigious institutions like the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art's youth programs. Moseley's edge came during a callback workshop in early 2003, where he was paired with various potential Susans and Lucys for scene readings. His ability to command a room without overpowering his co-stars, particularly in an improvised sequence depicting the siblings' evacuation from London, sealed his fate. Upon securing the role, Moseley made the bold decision to withdraw from school, dedicating 6 months to line memorization and physical training, including fencing and horseback riding to prepare for Peter's battle sequences. This immersion paid dividends. His portrayal of the reluctant High King evolved from a gangly teen's awkwardness into a symbol of understated heroism, earning praise for its emotional authenticity. Anna Popplewell's path to Susan Pevensie, the intellectual middle sister, unfolded over an even longer timeline, spanning a full year and a half of intermittent auditions that tested her endurance as much as her talent. Discovered in 2002 through a school drama club recommendation, the 14-year-old Popplewell arrived at her first session armed with a dog-eared copy of Lewis's book, which she had devoured multiple times. Hall was immediately struck by Popplewell's poise, but the role demanded more. Susan's arc requires a delicate balance of skepticism and quiet strength, qualities that emerged in Popplewell during extended chemistry reads with Moseley. One particularly memorable audition involved a whimsical table tennis match against Adamson himself, designed to gauge her ability to multitask under pressure, mirroring Susan's role as the family's pragmatic anchor. This unorthodox exercise, blending sport with scripted dialogue, revealed Popplewell's quick wit and composure, traits that would shine in scenes like the White Witch's Tea Party temptation. By mid-2003, after cycling through dozens of workshops, Popplewell was locked in, her selection praised by producers for bringing a grounded femininity to a character often criticized in adaptations for being underdeveloped. Her preparation included historical research on 1940s British women, ensuring Susan's wardrobe choices from practical trousers to emerging elegancia felt authentic to the era. Skander Keynes's casting as the conflicted Edmund Pevensie marked a late pivot in the process, injecting an element of serendipity into the otherwise methodical search. At 12 years old, Keynes was not initially on the radar. His audition tape, submitted casually by his family in early 2004, caught Hall's eye only after the other siblings had been tentatively selected. A descendant of the renowned economist John Maynard Keynes, young Skander brought an innate intellectualism to Edmund's betrayal and redemption arc, qualities honed from his bilingual upbringing, English and Turkish. The workshops for Edmund were uniquely challenging, requiring actors to embody petulance without veering into caricature. Keynes excelled in a pivotal read-through of the Turkish delight scene, his furrowed brow conveying a mix of resentment and vulnerability that Adamson described as hauntingly real. However, production hiccups arose during principal photography in New Zealand later that year. Keynes's voice cracked mid-filming due to puberty, necessitating post-production reloops. In a touch of familial ingenuity, his older sister Somaya Keynes, an aspiring actress, provided the adult toned overdubs for several key scenes, preserving the performance's continuity without recasting. This behind-the-scenes workaround not only saved time but added a layer of authenticity, as the siblings' real-life closeness mirrored the Pevensies' on-screen dynamic. Georgie Henley's selection as the wide-eyed Lucy Pevensie remains the most fortuitous tale in the casting saga, a story that underscores the production's openness to unpolished talent. Just 8 years old and with zero acting experience, Henley was spotted in 2004 by a casting associate during a family outing in London, absorbed in a tearful reading of a poignant children's novel on a park bench. Her expressive fascia framed by tousled curls so drew immediate attention. Rushed into an impromptu screen test, Henley delivered Lucy's discovery of Narnia with unbridled wonder, her natural exuberance cutting through the fatigue of the long search. Adamson, wary of over-rehearsed child actors, saw in her the pure curiosity Lewis intended for his youngest protagonist. Cast mere months before filming commenced, Henley's rapid onboarding included daily script readings with the tutor and bonding sessions with the older cast to foster sibling rapport. Her innocence infused scenes like the Fawn's tea party with genuine magic, though it also posed challenges during the wardrobe entrance. Her ad-lib gasps required multiple takes to capture without breaking the spell. The Pevensies' collective chemistry was forged in a 2-week family camp in New Zealand prior to shooting, where the children hiked, played board games, and rehearsed in a simulated wartime manner. This immersion, orchestrated by Hall, ensured their interactions felt organic, evident in the evacuation scene's frantic energy and the Battle of Beruna's triumphant unity. Critics later lauded this casting triumph, noting how the ensemble's youth, averaging 12 years old, lent the film a raw vulnerability absent in more star-driven fantasies. Tilda Swinton's enigmatic embodiment of the White Witch. While the children's selection dominated headlines, the adult casting began with the singular stroke of certainty. Tilda Swinton as Jadis, the White Witch. From the project's inception in 2002, Swinton was producer Mark Johnson's unequivocal first choice, her ethereal androgyny and commanding presence aligning seamlessly with Lewis's description of the Empress of the Lone Islands. Swinton, then 41 and writing acclaim from art house darlings like Orlando, 1992, required minimal auditioning. A single meeting with Adamson in London sufficed, where she recited the witch's incantation over tea, her Scottish lilt chilling the room. Her preparation delved deep into mythology, drawing parallels between Jadis and Norse frost giants, and involved consultations with Lewis scholars to nuance the character's pre-Narnian backstory. Swinton's commitment extended to physicality. She trained in ice skating and horse archery, insisting on performing 80% of her stunt work, including the climactic duel with Peter. Mostly recalled Swinton's infectious enthusiasm during rehearsals for the 110-beat sword fight, treating it as a balletic duel and collaborating with choreographer Chad Stahelski, later of John Wick fame, to infuse elegance into brutality. Her dwarf entourage, led by Karen Shaw's Jinar Brickrick, was cast to complement this menace. Shaw, a veteran little-person actor from The Empire Strikes Back, auditioned via tape from his Los Angeles base, selected for his wiry agility in the witch's sledge chases. Swinton's influence permeated the set, where she mentored the children on embracing fantasy's darker edges, her post-film reflections emphasizing Jadis as a fallen queen rather than cartoon villainy. This layered approach elevated the antagonist, making her temptation scenes viscerally seductive and contributing to Swinton's Oscar buzz in subsequent years. Liam Neeson's roaring voice for Aslan and vocal casting nuances. The quest for Aslan's voice proved more contentious, a microcosm of the production's evolving vision. Initially, Brian Cox was announced on December 9, 2004, his gravelly timbre from Braveheart, 1995, deemed fitting for the Christ-like lion. However, after test recordings clashed with the CGI model's majestic scale, Adamson pivoted. Liam Neeson, then 52 and known for dramatic heft in Schindler's List, 1993, proactively lobbied for the role, submitting an unsolicited demo in early 2005 that resonated with Adamson's desire for paternal warmth over bombast. Announced on July 17, 2005, Neeson's recording sessions in Los Angeles involved layering roars with human inflections, collaborating with Weta Workshop's animators to sync vocal cues with motion capture data from a stand-in-line performer. Neeson's casting ripple affected other vocal roles. Dawn French voiced Mrs. Beaver with her trademark northern warmth, auditioning via self-taped folksy monologues that evoked Lewis's cozy beavers. Michael Madsen, as Mogram the Wolf, brought a snarling menace from his Reservoir Dogs pedigree, his sessions emphasizing guttural howls blended with dialogue. These voice choices prioritized emotional depth, ensuring Aslan's procession felt divine rather than declamatory. James McAvoy's fawn and the bonds of mentorship. James McAvoy's portrayal of Mr. Tumnus, the bumbling fawn who introduces Lucy to Narnia's wonders, emerged from a targeted search for charm amid awkwardness. At 25, McAvoy was an rising star from British TV, State of Play, 2003, but his audition in mid-2003 stood out for its physical comedy. He improvised Tumnus's fainting spell with the goat-legged stumble that had Adamson in stitches. Paired with Henley for chemistry tests, McAvoy's patience shone through it despite her 8-year-old energy-disrupting takes. He ad-libbed nurturing lines, forging a mentor-sibling bond that translated to screen magic. His preparation included hooved movement classes with a circus troupe, ensuring Tumnus's panic felt endearingly clumsy. McAvoy later credited the role as his breakout, propelling him to X-Men stardom, but on set, he served as the child cast's unofficial guardian, hosting fun fests with Turkish delight props to ease tensions. Supporting ensemble, Kirk, Provincy Parents, and Narnian fauna. Jim Broadbent's casting as Professor Diggory Kirk provided a whimsical anchor for the human world. Approached in 2004 after his Moulin Rouge 2001 acclaim, Broadbent required no formal audition. A lunch with Adamson confirmed his eccentric gravities, perfect for Kirk's riddle-laden wisdom. The Provincy Parents, played by Judy McIntosh and Rupert Everett, uncredited voice, were cast swiftly. A McIntosh for her maternal warmth from the piano, 1993, selected via agency recommendation. Narnia's fauna demanded hybrid talents. Ray Winstone voiced Prince Caspian the horse with Cockney grit, while Patrick Cakes Aurelius the centaur involved motion capture suits tested on equestrian performers. Kieran Shaw's Jin Arbrike, the witch's loyal dwarf, rounded out the villains with agile menace. His 2004 audition in Prague showcased swordplay from Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, earning him the gig despite logistical hurdles of international travel. These choices wove a tapestry of British theatre veterans and genre specialists, ensuring the ensemble's cohesion. Challenges and innovations in child actor logistics. The casting scale introduced unprecedented logistical challenges, particularly for the minors. Union rules mandated on-set tutors and psychologists, with Hall coordinating welfare officers to monitor emotional well-being amid the New Zealand isolation. Visa issues delayed Kansas' arrival, while Henley's homeschooling curriculum integrated Lewis's theology to deepen her understanding of Lucy's faith journey. Adamson innovated with proxy siblings as stand-in adults for dangerous stunts, allowing the children to focus on dialogue without risk. Post-casting, the ensemble's cohesion was tested in table reads where Swinton's improvisations clashed with Neeson's gravitas, refining dynamics. These hurdles, surmounted through Hall's diplomacy, underscored the process's humanity. Lasting impact on careers and legacy. The casting's prescience is evident in the trajectories it launched. Mosley's Peter opened doors to the Royals, 2015, where he played a modern prince, echoing High King Burden's. Popplewell's Susan led to Reign, 2013. 2016, showcasing her regal poison historical drama. Kane's, post-trilogy, pivoted to politics, citing Edmund's redemption as inspirational for public service. Henley's Lucy evolved into diverse roles like the Spanish Princess, 2019, her wonder in tact and period intrigue. Swinton's Witch cemented her as a genre chameleon, from Suspiria, 2018, to Asteroid City, 2023. McAvoy's Tumnus vaulted him to Split, 2016, Multiplicity, while Neeson's Aslan preceded Taken, 2008, action hero reinvention. Broadbent's Kirk complemented Harry Potter, 2009, wizardry. 20 years on, the cast reflects on a process that changed lives, her 2025 Metro interview, with Henley crediting it for her resilience and mostly for lifelong bonds. This meticulous selection not only birthed a $745 million box office behemoth but redefined ensemble casting in a fantasy, prioritizing heart over hype. Production development and pre-production. The journey to bring the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe to the big screen was a long and complex process that spanned more than a decade. During the early 1990s, producers Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy were planning a film version of the beloved C.S. Lewis novel. However, their initial attempts faced significant obstacles. In 1996, they encountered difficulties finding suitable space in Britain to shoot the film, which was particularly problematic given the story's inherently British setting and character. Their plans to modernize the story by setting it in contemporary times drew strong opposition from Douglas Gresham, C.S. Lewis's stepson, who felt that such changes would betray the essence of the original work. Additionally, Gresham believed that the technology of the time had not yet advanced sufficiently to bring the magical world of Narnia to life in a satisfactory manner. The project gained new momentum when Perry Moore began negotiations with the C.S. Lewis estate in 2000. These discussions proved fruitful, and on December 7, 2001, Walden Media announced that they had successfully acquired the rights to the Chronicles of Narnia series. This was a significant milestone that opened the door for serious development of the film adaptation. Walden Media engaged in conversations with several notable directors to helm the ambitious project, including Rob Minkoff, John Berman, and David Fincher, each bringing their unique vision to the table. The landscape changed dramatically on March 1, 2004. When the Walt Disney Studios entered into a partnership deal with Walden Media to co-produce and finance the film, as well as all future Narnia films, under the Walt Disney Pictures banner. This collaboration brought substantial financial backing and distribution power to the project, making it a major studio production with the resources necessary to realize the scale and scope that the story demanded. The success of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in 2001 proved to be a crucial turning point in how fantasy adaptations were perceived in Hollywood. The film demonstrated that audiences worldwide would embrace faithful adaptations of British children's literature set in their original time periods and locations. Producer Mark Johnson explained that when The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe was being developed at Paramount earlier, there had been pressure to set it in the United States, but such a change simply did not work because it fundamentally altered the nature of the story. The Harry Potter phenomenon broke down cultural and geographical barriers, showing that authentic British settings could achieve global success. Guillermo del Toro was approached to direct the film but turned down the offer due to his commitment to Pan's Labyrinth. Ultimately, Andrew Adamson, fresh from his Academy Award win for Shrek, took on the dual role of director and co-writer. Adamson approached the adaptation by creating a 20-page treatment based on his childhood memories of reading the book, which gave the screenplay a personal and emotionally resonant foundation. His vision included significant expansions to elements that were merely suggested in the novel, most notably the opening sequence featuring the Luftwaffe bombing of London and the climactic battle at the film's conclusion. While these scenes do not occupy much space in Lewis's novel, Adamson felt they were important for cinematic storytelling. In the original novel, the battle is not depicted in detail until Aslan, Susan, Lucy, and their reinforcements arrive on the scene. Adamson made the deliberate choice to show the full scope of the battle because he vividly remembered imagining such a scene when he first read the book as a child. This decision exemplified Lewis's approach to storytelling, which left much to readers' imaginations, allowing them to fill in details based on their own experiences and creativity. The screenplay incorporated several changes and additions to make the story work better for film. In the novel, all four children come to Narnia separately or in pairs, but the movie presents a different catalyst. During a game of hide-and-seek, the children accidentally break a window, forcing them to hide in the wardrobe room. This change created a more unified entry point for the characters. Another significant alteration was having Edmund meet Mr. Tumnus earlier in the story, whereas in the book, they do not meet until the end. The filmmakers also added personal details to make the Pevensie children feel more real and relatable. The mother's name, Helen, was chosen as a tribute to Georgie Henley's actual mother. The family's home in Finchley was inspired by Anna Popplewell, who hails from that area of London. Adamson modified Lucy's discovery of the wardrobe to make it feel more organic and natural. In this film, she finds it while looking for a hiding place during their game, rather than simply stumbling upon it while exploring the house as in the novel. This change gave Lucy's entry into Narnia a sense of purpose and immediate context. The film also incorporated subtle hints at Professor Kirk's backstory from The Magician's Nephew, which would not be written until after the original Lion, Witch and Wardrobe novel. These hints included special engravings on the wardrobe and the professor's surprised reaction when Peter and Susan mentioned Lucy's discovery, suggesting his own connection to Narnia. Another change involved the children's father. In the novel, he is in London with their mother during the evacuation, but the film depicts him as actively serving in the war, which Lucy mentions to Mr. Tumnus during their first meeting. The casting process was extensive and thorough, taking several years to complete. Beginning in 2002, Adamson reviewed approximately 2,500 audition tapes, conducted in-person meetings with 1,800 children, and held workshops with 400 potential actors before narrowing down to the final 4 young leads. Tilda Swinton was the first and only choice to play Jadis, the White Witch, as the filmmakers recognized she possessed the perfect combination of regality, coldness, and menace the role required. William Moseley and Anna Popplewell were identified early in the casting process, while Georgie Henley and Skander Keynes were cast relatively late. Moseley's casting came about through an interesting connection. Casting director Pippa Hall remembered casting him as an extra insider with Rosie in 1998. His natural presence and ability impressed the filmmakers enough that he beat out 3,000 other boys for the role of Peter. Moseley demonstrated his commitment to the project by quitting school to dedicate himself fully to learning his lines and preparing for the demanding role. The casting of Aslan's voice became a point of contention during production. Brian Cox was originally cast in the role on December 9, 2004, and began recording his performance. However, Adamson ultimately decided to make a change, feeling that a different vocal quality was needed for the character. Liam Neeson actively sought out the role, recognizing the importance and cultural significance of the character. His involvement was officially announced on July 17, 2005, and he brought gravitas, warmth, and authority to Aslan's voice that perfectly captured the lion's dual nature as both fierce and compassionate. The production design and creature creation fell to Wattier Dieris's workshop, the renowned effects company that had previously worked on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. However, Wattier Dieris's workshop head Richard Taylor emphasized that their approach to Narnia needed to be distinctly different from their work on Middle-earth. He cited Hieronymus Bosch's The Garden of Earthly Delights as a visual inspiration, noting that Narnia had to feel less stark and gritty than Middle-earth because it represented a new, magical world filled with wonder and possibility. The creatures and environments needed to balance realism with fantasy, creating believable characters while maintaining the story's sense of enchantment. Many of Wattier Dieris's initial creature designs were intended for digital creation, but when Howard Berger and K&B Effects took over the practical effects work, they faced the challenge of adapting these designs for animatronics and prosthetics. This process required 3 months of intensive retooling to ensure that approved designs could be practically realized on set. Berger's approach to the work was notably collaborative and family-oriented. His children regularly commented on his designs and offered suggestions, proving instrumental in some key creative decisions. When they suggested changing the White Witch's hair from black to blonde, Berger agreed, recognizing that Tilda Swinton's black wig had looked too gothic and did not capture the character's icy, otherworldly quality as effectively as platinum blonde would. Filming principal photography commenced in New Zealand on June 28, 2004. Marking the beginning of an ambitious international production. Adamson made the strategic decision to shoot the film primarily in chronological order, a relatively unusual approach in filmmaking that comes with significant logistical challenges. However, This decision was deliberate and purposeful. Adamson wanted to capture the natural maturation and development of his young actors throughout the production, allowing their real-life growth to mirror their characters' emotional journeys through the story. As the months of filming progressed, the children would naturally become more confident and mature, which would translate authentically to their performances on screen. To preserve the sense of wonder and discovery that was crucial to the story, Adamson employed several clever techniques during filming. Georgie Henley and Skander Kanes were never shown the elaborate Narnia sets before filming their characters' first scenes in the magical world. This meant that their reactions of awe and amazement were genuine, captured in real time as they experienced the fantastical environments for the first time. Similarly, Henley had never seen James McAvoy in his complete Mr. Tumnus costume and makeup before they shot their scenes together, ensuring that Lucy's initial surprise and curiosity about meeting a faun would be completely authentic. The first scene filmed was the railway sequence, shot at the former Runs-Off Base Hobsonville. This location provided the period-appropriate setting for the children's departure from London. Following this, the production moved to tackle the opening blitz sequence, which Adamson considered their first formal day of principal photography. These scenes required extensive coordination, combining practical effects with digital enhancement to recreate the terrifying experience of World War II bombing raids on London. The production encountered an unusual challenge when the filmmakers requested permission to bring 12 live reindeer from North America to New Zealand to pull the White Witch's sledge. The New Zealand Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry denied this request, citing serious concerns about Q fever, a potentially deadly disease that affects the North American reindeer population. The ministry could not risk introducing this disease to New Zealand's ecosystem. Interestingly, the ministry did approve the import of 10 wolves and wolf hybrids for filming in Auckland, presumably after thorough health screenings and quarantine protocols. To solve the reindeer problem, Mark Rappaport's Creature Effects Incorporated created 4 highly sophisticated animatronic reindeer. These mechanical creatures were designed with remarkable versatility, featuring replaceable skins that allowed them to serve multiple purposes. The production could outfit them with brown skins when they appeared as Father Christmas's reindeer and white skins when they pulled the White Witch's sledge, maximizing the value of the animatronic investment. The animatronic reindeer were used primarily for shots where the animals needed to stand in place or perform specific controlled movements. The cast and crew spent their initial months in New Zealand working in and around Auckland before relocating to the South Island in November 2004. The South Island provided stunning natural locations that became integral to Narnia's visual identity. Flock Hill in Canterbury offered sweeping vistas and dramatic landscapes. The area known as Elephant Rocks near Duntroon in North Otago was transformed into a Slin's Camp, with its distinctive rock formations providing a naturally majestic setting. The castle scenes were filmed in Purakanui Bay in the Catlins district, near New Zealand's southern tip, where the rugged coastline and ancient atmosphere perfectly suited the narrative requirements. After the Christmas break, the production moved to Europe, filming in the Czech Republic, including scenes in Prague and a Dierisosk Tilda copyright Ringvaline Karsko National Park, which offered different terrain and architectural possibilities. The production also utilized locations in Slovenia and Poland, each providing unique visual elements that contributed to Narnia's diverse landscape. The demanding international shoot finally wrapped in February 2005, concluding months of intensive work across multiple continents. Post-production. The extensive post-production process was overseen by editors Jimmy and Sim Evan Jones, who faced the complex task of assembling hundreds of hours of footage into a coherent and emotionally engaging narrative. Evan Jones described his attraction to film editing as stemming from the unique problem-solving opportunities it presents. He appreciated the ability to shape and refine the story without having to directly manage actors and crew on set, instead serving as the keeper of the narrative in the editing room where he could focus purely on the story's flow and emotional impact. Jimmy brought a unique background to the project, having worked at several prestigious visual effects facilities including Rhythm Hue Studios, Industrial Light Magic, and Sony Pictures Imageworks before transitioning into feature editorial work as a visual effects editor. This combination of technical knowledge and editorial skill proved invaluable given the film's heavy reliance on visual effects and digital creatures. During the editing process, the filmmakers made difficult decisions to achieve the desired rating from the Motion Picture Association of America. A sequence depicting several creatures being set on fire was reportedly removed to secure the PG rating, as the original footage was deemed too intense for younger viewers. This decision exemplified the careful balance the filmmakers needed to maintain between staying true to the story's darker elements and ensuring the film remained accessible to family audiences. Music. The musical score was composed and conducted by Harry Gregson Williams, who had previously collaborated with Edimson on Shrek, 2001, and Shrek 2, 2004. Establishing a creative partnership built on trust and shared artistic vision. Gregson Williams approached the Narnia score with ambition and scale, recognizing that the music needed to convey both the intimate emotional journey of the children and the epic scope of the fantasy world they discovered. The soundtrack was recorded at the legendary Abbey Road Studios in London and in Los Angeles, utilizing multiple world-class recording facilities. Gregson Williams assembled an impressive musical force, employing the 75-piece Hollywood Studio Symphony Orchestra to provide the score's orchestral foundation. He augmented this with a 140-member choir, mostly comprising members of the Bach Choir, whose voices added spiritual and emotional depth to key moments. The composer also brought in numerous solo musicians to add distinctive colors and textures to the score, including electric violinist Hugh Marsh and vocalist Lisbeth Scott, whose haunting voice was recorded at Gregson Williams's Wavecrest studio. The composer spent late September through early November 2005 conducting the Hollywood Orchestra and overseeing the recording sessions with the English Choir, an intensive period of musical creation that resulted in a rich, multi-layered score. Gregson Williams deliberately incorporated instruments used in ancient folk music to provide what he called color to the score, connecting Narnia's timeless quality to historical musical traditions. To underscore critical dramatic moments, he added complex choral textures and, occasionally, solo voices that conveyed emotional weight and spiritual significance. The score also included carefully integrated instances of electronic music, blending modern and traditional elements to create a unique sonic landscape. In addition to Gregson Williams's orchestral score, the film featured 3 original songs. Can't Take It and by Imogen Heap captured the wonder of discovering Narnia with ethereal, atmospheric production. Wonderkind by Alanis Morissette offered a more contemporary rock sound that connected the film to modern audiences. Winterlight by Tim Finn provided another musical perspective and the story's themes. Notably, Evanescence lead singer Rama Lee also wrote a song for the film, but it was not ultimately included in the official soundtrack, though it generated interest among fans. The musical efforts received significant recognition during awards season. The soundtrack garnered 2 Golden Globe Award nominations, one for Best Original Score and another for Best Original Song for Wonderkind. Though it did not win in these categories, the nominations acknowledge the quality and impact of the musical contributions to the film. EMI released a compilation soundtrack entitled Music Inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe in September 2005, several months before the film's release. This album featured songs by contemporary Christian music artists including Bethany Dillon, Cutlass, and Nicole Ordeman, recognizing the story's spiritual themes and its resonance with faith-based audiences. Waiting for the World to Fall by Jars of Clay was released as a single from this compilation. The album achieved notable success within the Christian music community, winning the Special Event Album of the Year at the GMA Music Awards, demonstrating the film's broad cultural impact. An unexpected musical phenomenon emerged when the comedy sketch Lazy Sunday, also known as the Narnia Rap, was performed by The Lonely Island and Chris Parnell on Saturday Night Live in 2005. This comedy song and its accompanying music video humorously depicted 2 people rapping about mundane activities, including going to see the Chronicles of Narnia at an afternoon matinee. The joke lay in the contrast between hardcore rap style and completely non-threatening, middle-class suburban content. Andy Samberg, one of the creators, described it as two guys rapping about very lame, sensitive stuff. The song became an overnight viral sensation, surprising even its creators with its popularity. Lazy Sunday had significant cultural impact beyond mere comedy. It is credited with helping revive Saturday Night Live, which had experienced stagnant ratings in the years preceding the sketch. More importantly, bootleg copies of the video were uploaded to YouTube, which had only launched earlier in 2005. These uploads gained a combined 5 million views, an enormous good number for online video at that time. The video's viral popularity brought widespread attention to YouTube, helping kickstart the site's transformation into the dominant video platform on the internet, a position it has maintained into the 2020s. Released theatrical, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe received a prestigious world premiere on December 7, 2005, when it was selected for the 59th Royal Film Performance. This special event was held at the Royal Albert Hall in aid of the film and television charity, a significant honor that underscored the film's cultural importance. The premiere was attended by Prince Charles, later King Charles III, and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, adding royal prestige to the occasion. The star-studded event included the cast, filmmakers, and numerous celebrities, generating substantial media coverage and building anticipation for the film's wider release. The film opened to the general public on December 8, 2005, in the United Kingdom, followed by a December 9 release in North America and throughout Europe. The timing was strategic, positioning the film for the lucrative holiday season when families traditionally attend movies together. The release date also avoided direct competition with other major holiday releases while capitalizing on the Christmas season, which aligned thematically with elements of the story. Home media. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe was released on DVD on April 4, 2006. Approximately 4 months after its theatrical debut. The home video release was available in multiple formats to accommodate different consumer preferences. A standard one-disc set offered both full-screen and widescreen editions as separate products, while a deluxe widescreen 2-disc boxed set included additional artwork and supplementary materials from Disney and Walden Media. Appealing to collectors and dedicated fans, the DVD release achieved extraordinary commercial success from its very first day. It sold 4 million copies on April 4, 2006, alone, an impressive figure that demonstrated the film's enduring popularity and strong word-of-mouth recommendation among families. This momentum continued throughout the year, and by year's end, the DVD had overtaken Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire to become the top-selling DVD in North America for 2006. This achievement was particularly significant given the Harry Potter franchise's dominant position in the home video market. By December 2008, the DVD had generated approximately $353.5 million in sales revenue, equivalent to 12,458,637 units sold. These figures represented not only commercial success but also the film's lasting appeal and its position as a family entertainment staple that continued to find new audiences through home video. Disney later released a 4-disc extended cut of the film on DVD, which became available on December 12, 2006. This expanded edition was offered commercially until January 31, 2007, after which Disney placed the DVD on moratorium, a common Disney practice of making titles temporarily unavailable to create demand for future releases. The extended cut ran approximately 150 minutes. Adding about 7 minutes to the theatrical version's runtime. The extended edition set included all the features previously released on the 2-disc special edition, ensuring that fans who had already purchased the earlier release would still find value in upgrading. The 2 additional discs offered substantial new content, including The Dreamer of Narnia, a previously unreleased feature-length documentary about C.S. Lewis that provided context about the author's life, faith, and creative process. Additional production featurettes offer deeper insight into various aspects of the filmmaking process, from creature design to location scouting. Most of the extended footage consisted of longer establishing shots of Narnia's landscapes and additional scenes of the Pevensie children walking through and exploring the magical world. These additions enhanced the sense of Narnia as a vast, detailed realm while allowing audiences to spend more time immersed in the fantasy environment. The extended battle sequence provided more action and clearer choreography, showing additional moments of heroism and danger during the climactic confrontation. The high-definition Blu-ray disc version was released on May 13, 2008, in the United States, with the United Kingdom receiving the release on June 16, 2008. This Blu-ray release took advantage of the format's superior video and audio quality, presenting the film's stunning visuals and immersive sound design in unprecedented clarity. The release included many of the special features from previous DVD editions, ensuring that early adopters of Blu-ray technology could enjoy the comprehensive supplementary materials that had made the DVD releases so popular. Reception box office. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe achieved remarkable commercial success, ultimately grossing $745 million worldwide against a production budget of $180 million, resulting in a highly profitable return on investment. This figure made it the 55th highest-grossing film of all time worldwide at the time of its release, a position that demonstrated both the film's quality and its broad international appeal across diverse markets and cultures. The film's worldwide opening weekend generated $107.1 million, marking Disney's fifth-largest opening worldwide at that time, and representing the studio's largest opening when it was released. This strong debut indicated robust interest and effective marketing that successfully converted awareness into ticket sales. The film became the third highest-grossing movie worldwide among all releases in 2005, trailing only Star Wars, Episode III: A Revenge of the Sith and Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, both of which came from established franchises with built-in audiences. Narnia's performance was particularly impressive considering it was launching a new film franchise based on books that, while beloved, had not been adapted to film in the modern era. The film remains the highest-grossing movie of the Narnia film franchise worldwide, as well as separately in North America and overseas markets, despite two sequels being released in subsequent years. This achievement underscores that the first film captured something special that resonated most strongly with audiences, whether due to novelty, the strength of the story, or the quality of the execution. Additionally, it stands as the most successful film in Walden Media's history worldwide, representing the production company's biggest commercial achievement. In North America, the film opened with a commanding performance. On its opening day, Friday, December 9, 2005, it turned $23 million across approximately 6,800 screens at 3,616 theaters, averaging $6,363 per theater or $3,383 per screen. These per-venue averages indicated strong attendance across all locations rather than success concentrated in a few urban markets. The opening weekend, spanning December 9 to 11, 2005, brought in a total of $65.6 million, which ranked as the 24th best opening weekend at the time. The $65.6 million opening represented Disney's third-largest opening weekend at that time and marked the second biggest December opening in history, trailing only The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. It also achieved the third-largest opening weekend of 2005, demonstrating its competitive strength in a year filled with major releases. The film maintained strong attendance throughout its theatrical run, ultimately grossing $291.7 million in total domestic box office, making it the second highest-grossing film of 2005 in North America, behind Star Wars, Episode III: A Revenge of the Sith. Notably, the film surpassed the domestic gross of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by only $1.7 million, a remarkably close finish between two family-oriented fantasy adaptations. However, while Narnia edged ahead domestically, Harry Potter grossed $895.9 million worldwide, significantly more than Narnia's $745 million global total, indicating that Harry Potter had stronger international appeal in certain markets. The film claimed several impressive distinctions within specific categories. It was the highest-grossing film of the 2005 holiday period, capturing the lucrative Christmas season market. It became the second highest-grossing Christian film, appealing to faith-based audiences who responded to the story's spiritual allegory and themes. As the sixth-largest family children's book adaptation, it demonstrated the enduring appeal of literary classics translated to screen. It ranked as the 9th highest-grossing fantasy live-action film and the 10th highest-grossing film overall in Disney Company history at the time, cementing its place in the studio's commercial pantheon. Box Office Mojo estimates that the film sold over 45 million tickets in North America alone, a figure that helps contextualize its success beyond dollar amounts by showing the actual number of people who viewed the film theatrically. This impressive attendance figure demonstrated the film's ability to attract multiple demographics, from families with children to adult fans of the books to general moviegoers seeking quality entertainment. Critical response: The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe received generally positive reviews from critics, who recognized the film's technical achievements and faithful adaptation of the source material. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 75% based on 217 reviews, with an average rating of 6.9 out of 10. The site's critical consensus effectively summarizes the prevailing view: with first-rate special effects and compelling storytelling, this adaptation stays faithful to its source material and will please moviegoers of all ages. This consensus highlighted the film's success in balancing spectacle with narrative substance while appealing to both children and adults. On Metacritic, which aggregates reviews into weighted scores, the film holds an average of 75 out of 100, based on 39 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. This score placed it comfortably in the positive range while acknowledging that critics had some reservations or mixed feelings about certain aspects. CinemaScore, which polls actual moviegoers as they exit theaters, reported that audiences gave the film a rare A+ grade, the highest possible rating. This exceptional audience response indicated that while critics were positive but measured in their praise, general audiences were thoroughly delighted with the film, finding it emotionally satisfying and entertaining. Roger Ebert, one of America's most influential film critics, awarded the film 3 out of 4 stars, a solid recommendation indicating a quality film worth seeing. His review acknowledged the film's strengths in bringing the beloved story to life while noting some imperfections. Ebert and his colleague Richard Roeper gave the movie 2 thumbs up on their television program At the Movies, their dual recommendation carrying significant weight with moviegoers who trusted their opinions. Leonard Maltin, another respected critic and film historian, also gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, calling it an impressive and worthwhile family film. However, he tempered his praise with the observation that it does go on a bit and the special effects are extremely variable, pointing to pacing issues in the film's lengthy runtime and inconsistency in the quality of visual effects, with some sequences appearing more convincing than others. Multiple other critics offered positive assessments. Wayne Dudek of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel awarded 3 out of 4 stars. Stuart Klawans of The Nation assured readers that all ticket buyers will get their money's worth, emphasizing the film's entertainment value. Elizabeth Weitzman of the New York Daily News gave it a perfect 4 out of 4 stars, praising it as a generation-spanning journey that feels both comfortingly familiar and excitingly original, recognizing how the film honored its source material while bringing cinematic innovation to the adaptation. Meek Losale of the San Francisco Chronicle demonstrated particularly strong enthusiasm, listing The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe as the second-best film of the entire year in his annual ranking, a significant endorsement from a major market critic. Kit Bowen also awarded 3 out of 4 stars, joining the chorus of generally favorable reviews. Not all critical voices were positive, however. John Anderson of Newsday reacted negatively to the film, expressing disappointment with what he perceived as creative timidity. He stated that there's a deliberateness, a fastidiousness and a lack of daring and vision that marks the entire operation, suggesting that the filmmakers played it too safe rather than taking creative risks that might have elevated the material. The film's technical achievements were recognized through numerous awards and nominations. At the 78th Academy Awards, the film won the Oscar for Best Makeup, honoring the work of Howard Berger, Greg Nicotero, and Nikki Cooley in creating the film's diverse creatures and character transformations. The film also received Academy Award nominations for Best Sound Mixing and Best Visual Effects, acknowledging the technical team's contributions to the film's immersive quality. At the 59th BAFTA Awards, the film won for Best Makeup and Hair and received nominations for Best Costume Design and Best Special Visual Effects, further recognizing the artistry and craftsmanship that brought Narnia to life. The musical score received recognition with a Golden Globe nomination for Best Original Score, while Alanis Morissette's song Wonderkind was nominated for Best Original Song at the 63rd Golden Globe Awards. At the 49th Grammy Awards, the score was nominated for Best Score Soundtrack Album for Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media, and Imogen Heap's Can't Take It and was nominated for Best Song Written for Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media. The film collected numerous other accolades that recognized different aspects of its achievement. It won the BeliefNet Film Award for Best Spiritual Film, acknowledging its religious themes and allegorical content. The movie Good Faith Values Awards honored it as Most Inspiring Movie of 2005 and Best Family Movie of 2005, celebrating its positive messages and family-friendly approach. The film received the CAMI, Character and Morality in Entertainment, Award, which recognized media that promotes positive character and ethical values. At the British Academy Film Awards, the film won for Makeup and Hair and the Orange Rising Star Award went to James McAvoy, recognizing his breakthrough performance as Mr. Tumnus. The film won the Outstanding Motion Picture, Animated or Mixed Media Award as the 10th Satellite Awards. The Phoenix Film Critics Society Award for Best Performance by a Youth in a Lead or Supporting Role was awarded to Georgie Henley, female, recognizing her captivating portrayal of Lucy. The Costume Designers Guild honored Isis Masenden with their award for excellence in fantasy film. The Saturn Awards recognized the film's achievements in costumes, Isis Masenden, and makeup, Howard Berger, Greg Nicotero, and Nikki Cooley. Georgie Henley's performance as Lucy Pevensie earned particular acclaim from critics and audiences alike. Her natural charm, genuine emotional expressions, and ability to convey wonder and courage resonated strongly with viewers. She won several awards specifically recognizing her work, including the Phoenix Film Critics Society Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role and Best Performance by a Youth. Her numerous other awards for either Best Young Performance or Best Actress in a Leading Role demonstrated that critics recognized her as not merely a talented child actor but as a genuinely compelling performer who anchored the film's emotional core. Her portrayal of Lucy's innocence, bravery, and moral clarity became one of the film's greatest strengths, providing audiences with an authentic entry point into the magical world of Narnia. It's an odd sensation, isn't it, watching a film that promises magic only to feel the seams of its construction tugging at the edges of your suspension of disbelief. Disney and Walden Media's adaptation of C.S. Lewis's beloved The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe has its moments of grandeur but stumbles as often as it soars. There's a studied effort here to recapture the wonder of childhood, but in that effort, something crucial as certain is. A fluidity is lost. We are left instead with a film that alternates between charmingly whimsical and oppressively self-serious, as though afraid that its younger audience might not take it seriously. The film's first act introduces us to the Pevensie siblings, displaced to the countryside during World War II. These sequences are handled with an awkward mixture of plotting domesticity and overwrought dialogue. It's only once Lucy, Georgie Henley, stumbles into the wardrobe and into Narnia that the film begins to find its footing. The snowy landscape, punctuated by the airy glow of an iron lamppost, has an undeniable allure. Director Andrew Adamson paints this scene with a delicate touch, evoking the hushed wonder of a child's discovery. Yet even in these early moments, the digital gloss of the CGI intrudes. Narnia looks too much like a rendering, a version of a fantasy world created not by imagination but by a high-powered computer. The performances are as uneven as the visual effects. Georgie Henley, as young Lucy, is an earnest delight, wide-eyed and brimming with the kind of conviction that anchors the more fantastical elements. William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, and Skander Kane says her siblings are serviceable but fail to break through the stiltedness of much of the dialogue. And then there is Tilda Swinton as the White Witch. Swinton delivers a performance of icy restraint, a malevolent undercurrent running beneath her calm exterior. She's the film's brightest spark, a villain who seems to truly relish her role as a manipulative force of nature. If only the screenplay allowed her more room to breathe, to expand her menace beyond calculated glares and a few perfunctory battles. The much-touted voice performance by Liam Neeson as Aslan is a broken bar fine. That's not a knock, exactly, but it's hard not to wish for something with more texture, more unpredictability. Neeson's sonorous tones convey wisdom and gravities, but they lack the kind of warmth or danger that could have made Aslan a more compelling figure. In his scenes, the lion often feels like an overly literal embodiment of the story's Christian allegory, a divine presence rendered inert by his own symbolic weight. The climactic battle between the forces of good and evil is rendered in sweeping, epic terms. Centaurs charge, griffins swoop, and swords clash, all accompanied by a swelling score. And yet, for all its sound and fury, it feels strangely hollow. Perhaps it's the sanitized violence. There's no blood, no real sense of peril. Or perhaps it's that the characters are so thinly drawn that their fates fail to move us. The film wants to conjure the grandeur of The Lord of the Rings, but it lacks the grit, the intimacy, and the stakes of Jackson's trilogy. In its faithfulness to C.S. Lewis's text, the film occasionally forgets to be its own creation. Lines are lifted verbatim, and plot points are ticked off with the precision of a checklist, but Lewis's work, while deeply imaginative, is also rooted in the particularities of his prosody, its rhythms, its voice. What works on the page often feels inert on the screen. Adamson's direction is competent but uninspired, adhering so closely to the source material that there's little room for surprise or invention. What is most frustrating about The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is that it so often brushes against greatness. In Lucy's first encounter with Mr. Tumnus, a charming James McAvoy, in The Witch's temptation of Edmund, in the stirring sight of Aslan's sacrifice, there are glimpses of the film this could have been. But these moments are fleeting, undermined by an over-reliance on spectacle and a lack of trust in the audience's imagination. The result is a film that looks like magic but rarely feels like Ida and Narnia, that dazzles the eyes but leaves the heart wanting. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or just Narnia for short, was released by Walt Disney Pictures, although I wish it was by a different company, in 2005. This film was adapted from the book The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis and mixes the real world with the high fantasy world known as Narnia behind the wardrobe. The story follows 4 children, Lucy, Peter, Edmund, and Susan Pevensey, as they are forced to leave their home in London due to bombings in World War II. When they move to their new home, this is where the wardrobe that leads to Narnia is. This was the first of the 3 movies in the Chronicles of Narnia trilogy, followed by the sequel Prince Caspian, and the series ends with the voyage of the Dawn Treader. If you read the books, the series ends with the last battle. The trilogy only ended because of box office failures, especially when Fox decided to do the voyage of the Dawn Treader. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is 2 hours long, but it felt like 1 hour, because first of all, I have replayed this movie many times, and secondly, the action in this movie is actually intense and enjoyable. It will leave you at the edge of your seat. My favorite character throughout the movie is Aslan because he is the wisest character in the movie and I like lions. My other favorite character is Lucy because she has such a kind heart and she's the most fun character to watch. As for the soundtrack, I like the music a lot. The most popular soundtrack is The Battle. All the music is composed by Harry Gregson Williams, but it sounds more like something Hans Zimmer would make. My favorite soundtrack in the movie is The Battle, only the beginning of the adventure, and To Aslan's Camp. The movie's story is a broken bar interesting, because apparently, the story is based on certain themes of the Bible. For example, according to fan speculations, the White Witch supposedly represents the devil and temptation. Aslan is supposed to represent Jesus, hence the stone table scene. His death and rebirth is supposed to represent the death and resurrection of Jesus. Although we have more proof, because in The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, he tells Lucy that in their world he has another name, which most likely hints that he is a representation of Jesus. I believe that this theory most likely is just a coincidence, not actual connections to the Bible or other religious themes. Don't worry about any religious themes in the movie if that's not what you wish to think about. Also, the movie has characters such as Father Christmas and certain themes such as a forever winter because the movie was made around Christmas. Other than that, this movie still has a great story and is followed by Prince Caspian. Although I kinda found that movie boring, you can watch it and state your own opinion. The movie also has some differences to the book, because it adds more depth and detail to the scenes compared to how the book focuses on character development. This movie has a great soundtrack and story, and deserves a 9/10 for its creativity. Credits to C.S. Lewis for this. I thought that by the looks of the front cover of the film, that it would be a very long and boring film. But of course, first impressions don't always count and you should never judge a book by its cover. My opinion of the film is that it was quite interesting and enjoyable to watch. The storyline was great and it is not like any other film. It was unique and that is one of the main reasons why I liked it. Some aspects of the film were boring and made me want to be in the film when Edmund was on the witch's side, and others made me feel as if I was actually there, and it made me feel empathy when sad bits were shown when Aslan, the lion, died. Overall, the movie was a great experience to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed and appreciated it. Print this review. C.S. Lewis's mythical children's story, the first in the Narnia series, has been made for the screen before, a 1988 TV adaptation, but this is the most spectacular version you're likely to see, as directed by Shrek's Andrew Adamson. Filmed in New Zealand, which gives it a similar epic feel to The Lord of the Rings. It's the story of 4 children evacuated to a sprawling country house during the Second World War, who discover a wardrobe that leads to the magical world of Narnia. It's little Lucy, an adorable turned by Henley, who first discovers the snowbound world when she hides among the fur coats in the wardrobe, but soon her selfish brother Edmund, Skander Kane's skeptical sister Susan, Anna Popplewell, and oldest brother Peter, William Mosley, are also exploring the strange land of talking animals and whispering trees. Frozen in ice by the White Witch, a spectacularly mean turn from Swinton. According to Narnian legend, only 4 humans can end her evil reign, and those 4 are the children, who have to be protected by creatures such as Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, voiced by Ray Winstone and Dawn French, Mr. Tumnus, James McAvoy, and the regal lion Aslan, voiced by Liam Neeson. A beautiful mix of live action and animated creatures. This is a terrific telling of Lewis's tale that should impress everyone and possibly inspire kids to read the other books in the series. There are some scary scenes, the wolves chasing the children are particularly nasty, and there's a battle scene that boys will probably love but smaller children may be frightened by, and atheist older viewers may be turned off by the religious undertones that were present in Lewis's stories. Aslan the lion perhaps represents Jesus. But all in all, this is an impressive and entertaining adaptation of a classic book. Is the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe suitable for kids? Here are our parents' notes. Tilda Swinton's White Witch is definitely frightening for the under 6s. There is a wolf chase that is scary, and a brutal fight scene that is too violent for young children. Spoiler: children will also be upset late in the movie when Aslan is tied up and killed. If you like this, why not try The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Boys have suspected it for decades. When girls get together they become witches. At least, that's what happens when school outcasts Nancy, Buck, Bonnie, Campbell, and Rachel True, befriend new girl Sarah, Tani, and realize she is the missing 4th girl they need to complete their teenage coven. Soon, the A-bitches of Eastwick, as their schoolmates have dubbed them, are practicing magic instead of doing their maths homework, changing the color of their hair, levitating and wreaking revenge on their classmates with the help of a little witchcraft. Despite the fact that none of the actresses were anywhere near teen age while making the film, Tani was 24, Buck and Campbell were 22. And True was coming up to 30, They're all pretty convincing as tortured teens expressing their pubescent angst through magic. Of course, they could have conjured up hunky men and millions of dollars to ease their pain, but their twisted retributions are far more fun, and this occasionally twisted horror comedy. Is the craft suitable for kids? Here are our parents' notes. Note: this film has a 15 certificate, and there are scenes of violence as the girls attack. If you like this, why not try The Witches, Hocus Pocus, Mean Girls, Easy A, Heathers. Once you enter this wardrobe, time stands still. Just like the children in C.S. Lewis' tale, as you push through the opening minutes of this incredible film and get lost in the magic kingdom of Narnia, you'll leave all thoughts and cares of the real world behind. Finding Narnia was an accident for the Pevensie youngsters, relocated to the large country home of a complete stranger to avoid the dangers of the Wii bombing raids on the cities of Great Britain. Peter, William Moseley, Susan, Anna Popplewell, Edmund, Skander Keynes, and Lucy, Georgie Henley, were really just trying to amuse themselves with the simple game of hide-and-seek. Instead they discovered, while scrambling for cover, the antique wardrobe housed in a spare room is really a doorway into another place in time and space. Although it at first appears like a winter wonderland, the kids soon learn danger is lurking all around them. Frozen under a wicked enchantment from the White Witch, Tilda Swinton, the inhabitants live either in mortal dread of the self-appointed queen, or as faithful servants to her evil desires. Regardless of loyalty, the arrival of the Pevensies looks like the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy foretelling her doom at the hands of 4 humans who would come to assist Aslan, voiced by Liam Neeson, the rightful ruler. Consequently, while one group heralds the siblings' coming, the other plots their demise. Whether by coincidence or design, Peter and Susan feel it would be most prudent to curtail their visit, and just head home. However, that plan is complicated by Lucy's affection for the endangered creatures and Edmund succumbing to the spellbinding promises of the White Witch. But after they have met Aslan, and come to understand what the Great Lion is willing to do to free those oppressed by the cold-hearted tyrant, the children are ready to champion the cause of Narnia. Following the storyline of the popular book, with only a little tweaking to pick up the pace, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe, is a fitting tribute to the spirit of the original. As the epic battle of good versus evil unfolds, there are moments of violent confrontation. These are depicted with realistic tension, but without blood or gore. Other moments of peril may also have little ones holding tight to their parents' fingers, yet they are never truly terrifying. Rather, they help the siblings learn to leave their squabbling behind, and work together to overcome obstacles. As well, through a messiah-like allegory, they come to understand and appreciate the power of love and sacrifice. Spectacular performances from a nearly unknown cast of young actors cinches this movie's hold on audiences. Even more amazing is the skillful way in which animal and mythical characters have been presented, with Aslan literally being the king of them all. This talking lion uses his entire body to convey his messages, with the final effect being literally breathtaking. He may very well initiate thought on a new award category, Best Performance by a Non-Human. Because of the diversity of species in this classic novel, bringing it to life on the screen has always presented a challenge. Fortunately, technology has finally evolved enough to allow Walt Disney Studios to realize Lewis' vivid imagination. Under the expert handling of the creative team they've assembled, the resulting production is so believable, you might suspect the movie theater is another portal into the land of Narnia. Directed by Andrew Adamson. Starring William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, Skander Keynes and Georgie Henley. Running time, 143 minutes. Theatrical release December 8, 2005. Updated April 11, 2020. Watch the trailer for The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe. Rating Content info. Happen again. I would recommend this to be read by anyone interested in this part of history, even if you don't normally read graphic novels. I don't either, but these books have captivated me for years. Find out more about Moz to see what I'm reading next. If you've read this book, or read it in the future, feel free to let me know what you think. 4 children go through a wardrobe and find themselves in an enchanted world, and Disney brings C.S. Lewis' magical land of Narnia to life. The first book written in this wonderful series, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe, is appropriately the first film made. The four Pevensie children Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy flee World War II-era London and end up at a professor's home. They end up making it through the wardrobe to Narnia, where they encounter fauns, talking beavers, the White Witch and Asian the Lion. After battling the White Witch, the Pevensies take their rightful places as kings and queens of Narnia. Why is the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe rated PG? The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe is rated PG by them for battle sequences and frightening moments. Fans of C.S. Lewis' classic tale will likely be pleased with this adaptation of The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe. The only content concerns for young viewers may be the depictions of war and situations of peril. While the battle sequences are epic in scope and the violence is sometimes intense, it is never gory. As the children face danger, they learn to pull together, stop squabbling, and forgive one another. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe. Parents Tilda Swinton is willing to sacrifice a lot to save Edmund from his folly. Why would you be willing to give that much for another? What did the White Witch use to bring Edmund under her spell? Why was he so easily tempted by her promises? As Edmund comes to see the error of his ways, how does this new understanding affect the way he looks at others? Loved this movie? Try these books. The Broken Bar. The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe is a great introduction to the world of Narnia. Readers who want Narnia's backstory can turn to Lewis as the magician's nephew. The Pevensies' adventures continue in Prince Caspian. C.S. Lewis was friends with fellow author J.R.R. Tolkien. Tolkien's The Hobbit is a great introduction to his imagined world of Middle-earth, which he explores in greater detail in The Lord of the Rings. George MacDonald wrote books with a similar sensibility to those of C.S. Lewis. The Princess and the Goblin tells the story of Princess Irene and the surprise discovery she makes atop a staircase. Broken Bar. Kids who enjoy escaping into other worlds will enjoy Brian Jacques Redwall series. Set in Redwall Abbey, the stories begin with mice fending off the attack of an evil rat. Talking animals and exciting plots drive this fully formed universe. Susan Cooper's The Dark is Rising series introduces kids to an England infused with Arthurian mythology. The most recent home video release of The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe movie is April 3, 2006. Here are some details. A Broken Bar DVD release date, April 4, 2006. Enter the Magic Kingdom of Narnia as often as you like with the DVD release of The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe, available in either a widescreen version or a special 2-disc edition. If you choose the single-disc option, you will receive the following bonus features: bloopers, Discover Narnia fun facts, kids director commentary, and the filmmaker's commentary. If you take the double helping, you will also receive Chronicles of a Director, The Children's Magical Journey, Evolution of an Epic, From One Man's Mind, Cinematic Storytellers, Creating Creatures, Anatomy of a Scene, The Melting River, Creatures of the World, Explore Narnia, and Legends in Time. Better than Turkish Delight. Both versions offer English audio tracks and DTS 5.1 digital surround sound and 5.1 Disney enhanced home theater mix, with subtitles in French and Spanish. Related home video titles. The cast of this film reassemble for the sequels The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian and The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. In 1988, the BBC produced a made-for-TV version of The Lion, The Witch and the Wardrobe. The movie Shadowlands depicts the life of the author C.S. Lewis. Genre: children's classic fantasy. This is my first foray into The Chronicles of Narnia. I've seen the movies, or at least some of them, but only once when they first came out, and don't remember much past the first one. So overall, this will all be very new for me. This is yet another book I wish I'd read when I was younger. I have a feeling I would have liked it more as a kid. Overall, I did enjoy it, but it was a lot shorter and shallower than I would have expected it to be. Be aware, there will likely be spoilers ahead. I can appreciate the parallel to Christ in Iceland, though I went into the story expecting the entire thing to be an allegory, just from things I've heard. So some things really confused me, like Father Christmas showing up and giving everyone gifts, or the kids needing to fight against the witch and her army, weakening her before Aslan could then defeat her. However, I'm understanding more that the entire book, and series, was not necessarily meant to be an allegory, even while one can certainly draw a Christ-like parallel in Aslan's actions in this book. That does change my perspective on it after the fact. Now to Edmund de Brokenbarrow. Edmund de Brokenbar, he's a bit of a brat, even before he betrays his siblings, but I kinda get it. He's a middle child and struggling to find a place under his big brother. I'm in the same position in my family of 4 kids and definitely remembering struggling sometimes to feel special. Though I have all sisters, we did not always get along at all. Of course it seems as though he went too far, though we're supposed to understand he was under some sort of enchantment. His mental reasoning, though, as he prepared to betray his siblings, sounded less like enthrallment and more like sibling rivalry to me. In the end, though, I did like how the entire thing turned out. As soon as I finished this book, I recommended it to my 10-year-old daughter. I can see similarities in it to books that she has already read and enjoyed, so I think she'll love it. I'm looking forward to hearing her thoughts. It's always fun when we both read and enjoy the same books and then get to talk about them, and I see that being a possibility with this series. Find out more about The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. See what I'm reading next. If you've read this book, or read it in the future, feel free to let me know what you think. Was 2 book number 2 by Art Spiegelman. My rating, 5 genre, historical non-fiction graphic novel. The first volume of the story of Polish Jew Wladek Spiegelman took him right up to the gates of Auschwitz. In this second volume, Wladek and his wife survived the horrors of 2 of the deadliest camps the Nazis ran, but at what cost? As seen in their lives after the war, as well as in the life and psyche of their son. Coming out alive at the end of the Holocaust was just the first battle, though granted, a very, very difficult battle. The previous book was rough enough in some ways, but this one is like a gut punch. The images portrayed of Wladek and those around him, the death and torture, can be difficult to handle. Add to that the depression that Art Spiegelman himself goes through as he works on putting his father's story on paper, and it is not a book to be taken lightly. Amidst the terror, I am still fascinated to read about Wladek's ingenuity, the tricks he used to stay alive. Sometimes it was pure luck, but often it was intelligence and quick thinking. The emotions were heavy when the separated Wladek and Anja managed to even simply hear word that each other is alive. That hit me hard, thinking about my husband and me being in a similar situation. When I finished the book, I was left with a feeling of heaviness that was hard to shake. There's just no way to be able to imagine a fraction of what those involved in the Holocaust went through, living easy lives as we are. I think it's important for us to never forget what humanity is capable of, lest we begin to believe something like this could never. As a child, I absolutely loved this series of books. I saw a British version when I was younger, but the CGI of the 80s and low production value made that one difficult to watch. I was always very hopeful someone would make a version that felt worthy of the series I loved so much. This version did just that for me. Let's talk about the 2 biggest stars in this film. Tilda Swinton and Liam Neeson are bona fide acting legends, and their presence in this film helps to elevate its stature. Swinton perfectly captures the spirit of the White Witch. She seems friendly to Edmund and then unveils her true evil once she learns the other 3 Pevensey children are in Narnia. As for Neeson, I love every character I've seen him play. I may not have loved every movie he's been in, but he's always been great in the roles, whether it's Schindler from Schindler's List, Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars, or Brian Mill from Taken. His performance as the voice of Aslan is no different. Lions are not the most emotive animals, and some emotion is lost in CGI. It's always up to the voice actor to convey that through his or her voice, and Neeson excels at that. Everything Aslan says has the tone and inflection to match his emotion the way Lewis wrote it. This movie took everything I loved about the books as a kid and brought it to the silver screen. It's not without its flaws, though. While the CGI works for Aslan, it's not as good for the Beavers or the White Witch's followers. Also, the CGI when the White Witch turns her enemies to stone is less than stellar. It was probably state-of-the-art back in 2005, but 15 years later, it doesn't hold up. Despite these flaws, I still enjoy myself every time I watch this movie. It brings back my childhood, and it's something I was happy to share with my son, who is currently reading the books. Ranking 4.5 stars out of 5. Have you seen the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? What did you think of it? Each month, I'll be bringing you my list of the best Disney Plus original programming, which includes series and movies from across Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, National Geographic and Pixar. Here is the What's on Disney Plus top Disney Plus originals for April 2020, 35, Forky asks a question. Forky, from Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 4, is a craft project created from trash, so he has important questions about how the world works, such as, what is love? What is time? And of course, the deepest question of all, what is cheese? He explores all of these questions and more in a collection of 10 shorts called Forky Asks a Question, exclusively on Disney+. 34, Disney Nature Elephant. Disney Nature's elephant follows African elephant Shani and her spirited son Jomo as their herd make an epic journey hundreds of miles across the vast Kalahari Desert. Led by their great matriarch, Gaia, the family faces brutal heat, dwindling resources and persistent predators, as they follow in their ancestors' footsteps on a quest to reach a lush, green paradise. 33, Disney Insider. This docu-series taking fans behind the curtain of the Walt Disney Company. The series peels back the curtain of the Walt Disney Company like never before. Tune in each week as the series takes fans behind movies, theme parks, destinations, music, toys, and more. Each episode offers 3 unique stories that capture the magical moments and heartfelt storytelling that is Disney. 32, In the Footsteps of Elephants. In the Footsteps of Elephant follows filmmakers as they capture the epic journey of African elephants across the Kalahari Desert for Disney Nature's Elephant. The team faces extreme weather, inaccessible terrain, crocodile-infested waters and close encounters with lions in order to shine a light on these remarkable creatures and their ancient migrations. Filming the world's largest terrestrial animal is no easy task. To embark on their 1,000-mile round-trip adventure, the Disney Nature team must first transport the crew, along with 5 tons of camera gear, to the heart of the Okavango Delta, a remote oasis where elephants gather annually. Their next challenge is finding elephants, and despite their incredible size, locating an elephant in an area that's nearly 4,000 square miles is like finding a needle in a haystack. Fortunately for filmmakers, a local biologist who tracks elephant populations lends a hand. The team identifies its herd and it's off the races. A broken bar literally. 31. Penguins. A Life of the Edge. Penguins, Life on the Edge follows the witty and tenacious team of filmmakers behind Disney Nature's Penguins, a coming-of-age story about an adult copyright live penguin named Steve. To fulfill their mission, the elite cinematographers must brave the brutal Antarctic, pushing through temperatures of -40 degrees, hurricane-strength winds and the overwhelming aroma of 1 million penguins. 30. Diving with Dolphins. Diving with Dolphins chronicles the making of Disney Nature's Dolphin Reef, the story of a young Pacific bottlenose dolphin named Echo. From wave surfing with dolphins in South Africa to dancing with humpback whales in Hawaii, filmmakers go to great lengths and depths to shed new light on the ocean's mysteries. To locate and cast their lead and supporting characters, Disney Nature filmmakers partner with marine life experts and scientists, traveling to stunning locations such as the Red Sea, French Polynesia, Sipidan Island in Malaysia and the islands of Palau. On their global aquatic journey, the team captures remarkable bottlenose dolphin behaviors rarely seen in the wild, including a little-known ritual involving Gorgonian coral, synchronized swimming while sleeping, and a fascinating, cooperative hunting strategy called mud ringing. They take one last trip, not featured in the final film, which illustrates how humans can positively impact our oceans and their incredible inhabitants long into the future. Explorer C8 Tilda copyright line Cousteau narrates the English-language version. 29. Marvel Hero Project. This 20-episode Disney Plus series shares the remarkable, positive change several young heroes are making in their own communities across the country. These inspiring kids have dedicated their lives to selfless acts of bravery and kindness, and now, Marvel celebrates them as the true superheroes they are by welcoming them into Marvel's Hero Project. 28. Timmy Failure. mistakes were made. This Disney Plus original movie is based on the best-selling book of the same name, follows the hilarious exploits of our quirky, deadpan hero, Timmy Failure, who, along with his 1,500-pound polar bear partner Total, operates Total Failure Incorporated, a Portland detective agency, an elementary school oddball. The clueless but confident Timmy must navigate the world of adults around him, including his overburdened mother, her well-meaning boyfriend, his teacher, nemesis, and a school-mandated guidance counselor, all in his quest to become the best detective in the world. Well worth checking out. 27. Disney nature dolphin reef echo is a youngster who can't quite decide if it's time to grow up and take on new responsibilities or give in to her silly side and just have fun. Dolphin society is tricky, and the coral reef that Echo and his family call home depends on all of its inhabitants to keep it healthy. But Echo has a tough time resisting the many adventures the ocean has to offer. 26. Be Our Chef, Be Our Chef, a new Disney-inspired cooking competition series, invites 5 diverse food-loving families to create themed dishes, all inspired by the magic of Disney. The families will compete for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to present their very own Disney signature dish to be served at Disney parks. In each episode, hosted by The Office star Angela Kinsey, 2 of the 5 families go head-to-head in a theme cook-off challenge, using family traditions and learned skills, all while representing their family through the Disney lens. The 2 families with the most wins make it to the spectacular finale, where they compete for the grand prize. The winner's magical food creation will then become a signature dish or treat served at Walt Disney World. The series is hosted by The Office, star Angela Kinsey, and will feature 5 diverse families and Disney World chefs. 25. Stargirl from Disney Plus is a tender and offbeat coming-of-age story based on the critically acclaimed, New York Times best-selling young adult novel about an unassuming high schooler who finds himself inexplicably drawn to the free-spirited new girl, whose unconventional ways change how they see things as a broken bar in their world. Leo Borlock, Graham Vercheer, is an average student at Micah High School. He gets decent grades, is a member of the school's marching band, and has always been content flying under the radar. But all that changes when he meets Stargirl Caraway, Grace Vanderwall, a confident and colorful new student with a penchant for the ukulele, who stands out in a crowd. She is kind, finds magic in the mundane, and touches the lives of others with the simplest of gestures. Her eccentricities and infectious personality charm Leo and the student body, and she quickly goes from being ignored and ridiculed to accepted and praised, then back again, sending Leo on a roller coaster ride of emotions. 24. Diary of a Future President. In this Disney Plus series Diary of a Future President, we see the origin story of a future leader, told using the narration of 12-year-old Cuban-American girl Elena's diary. This new family comedy follows her journey through the ups and downs of middle school, which set her on the path to becoming the President of the United States. It's a good family-friendly series, though you might need to give it a few episodes to see if it clicks with you. 23. A Celebration of the Music from Coco. A Celebration of the Music from Coco is the reimagined live-to-film concert experience recorded at the legendary Hollywood Bowl, bringing to life performances from the spectacular Disney Pixar film Coco. This magical celebration of the Day of the Dead includes performances and appearances by Benjamin Bratt, Jaime Camil, Philippe Vernet Des Del Paso, Alex Gonzalez, Sarah Hicks, Natalia Jamatilda Copyright Nez, Eva Longoria, Rudy Mancuso, Mariachi Divas, Luis Gerardo Matilda Copyright Nez, Miguel, Carlos Rivera, Alana Uback, and featuring Leon Critch, the film's director. A Celebration of the Music from Coco features a full 60-piece orchestra. Watch performances of the Academy Award Day registered winning original song Remember Me, plus Un Poco Loco, The World Es Mi Familia, Proud Corazon Tilda Cube Den, as well as some fan favorites from the Latin American soundtrack, including La Bikina, B8 Tilda Copyright Same Mucho, Recuate Tilda Copyright Redeem, and many more. 22. Encore. This charming series sees Kristen Bell giving many different high school musical cast from 20 years ago the chance for a nationally televised encore. This reality TV show shares the trials and tribulations of each class, how they've dealt with their time after leaving high school, what issues still troubled them, and picking up friendships that have been gone for years. 21. Smash grab. After years of toiling away inside the engine room of a towering locomotive, two antiquated robots will risk everything for freedom and for each other. This Spark short is a lovely addition to the program and very enjoyable. It's very Pixar and is worth watching more than once. 20. Float and Float. A father discovers that his son is different from other kids in the most unusual way. To keep them both safe from judgment, Dad covers him and keeps him out of sight. But when his son's ability becomes public, Dad must decide whether to run and hide or to accept his son as he is. And check out the extras on this short. It will really help you understand the short by knowing the creator behind it. 19. Loop Loop tells the story of two kids at canoe camp find themselves adrift on a lake, unable to move forward until they find a new way to connect and see the world through each other's eyes. This film breaks new ground by featuring Pixar's first nonverbal autistic character. This is a very interesting and unique short that helps give more insight into autism. 18. Lamp Life. Bo Peep makes a big comeback in Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 4, and she leads the way in Pixar's all-new animated short film, Lamp Life. Lamp Life answers the question of what happened to Bo since we saw her in Toy Story 2. Join Woody and Giggle McDimples as Bo recounts her wild adventures. If you love the Toy Story movies, you should check this one out. 17. Pixar in Real Life. This live-action series brings iconic characters and moments from Pixar films into the real world, filmed on location, where we get to see people's reaction to these moments being recreated. It's a fun little series, with a new episode each month, covering Wall-E, Up, Brave and more. 16. Pearl. Pearl was the first Spark short released, and it showed a different side of Pixar, with a stronger political tone that sparked lots of interest on the internet. An earnest ball of yarn named Pearl gets a job at a fast-paced, high-energy, male-centric startup. Things start to unravel as she tries to fit in with this close-knit group. Pearl must ask herself, how far is she willing to go to get the acceptance she yearns for, and in the end, is it worth it? 15. Kitball. Kitball is my favorite Spark short from Pixar and tells the story of an unlikely connection sparks between two creatures, a fiercely independent stray kitten and a pit bull. Together, they experience friendship for the first time. For animal lovers, this one is gonna make you cry. It was also nominated for an Oscar. 14. Short Circuit Volume 1. Short Circuit is an experimental program where anyone at Walt Disney Animation Studios can pitch an idea and potentially be selected to create an original, innovative short film with the support of the studio and their fellow artists. The goal of the program is to take risks, surface new and diverse storytelling voices at the studio, and experiment with new technical innovation in the filmmaking process. Each short is only about 2 minutes long, with my personal favorites from this collection include Fetch, Lucky to Pay, Cycles and Elephant in the Room. 13. Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings. Having moved from Freeform to Disney+, this series featuring all new couples, surprise musical performances, unexpected appearances, captivating celebrations, and of course, lots of Disney magic. From epic hidden camera engagements to romantic fairy tale weddings, each episode will showcase enchanting stories and spectacular settings from Disney destinations around the globe. It's super glossy, a bit cheesy, but it's so lovely to see these couples on a special day in their life. It's one of my guilty secret shows that usually makes me tear up each episode. 12. Pick of the Litter. A docu-series based on the film of the same name, featuring the stories of service animals, their trainers, and their human companions. Follow the 6 lovable dogs Paco, Pacino, Tulane, Ruffy, Amara, and Tartan as they embark on a fascinating and suspenseful quest to become guide dogs for the blind, the ultimate canine career. As someone who has done guide dog puppy walking as a kid, I've found this series to be very educational, plus it's got lots of cute puppies, so that gives it a bonus point. 11. One Day at Disney. This hour-long documentary gives us an insight into a specific Disney cast member who drive creativity and innovation at the Walt Disney Company. There is also over additional 50 shorts that are being released weekly. Both the short and full-length documentary cast members at Shanghai Disneyland, to ESPN, to Pixar, and even from the set of Modern Family. Some of the cast members are more interesting than others, but there will be something for everyone. 10. Maggie Simpson in Playdate with Destiny. The film begins on a day that seemed like just another day at the park for Maggie Simpson. But when Maggie faces playground peril, a heroic young baby whisks her from danger and steals her heart. After a blissful first playdate, Maggie can't wait to see her new baby beau again the following day. But things don't go exactly as planned. Will fate, or Homer, get in her way? 9. The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Through the prism of Jeff Goldblum's always inquisitive and highly entertaining mind, nothing is as it seems. Each episode is centered around something we all love, like sneakers or ice cream, as Jeff pulls the thread on these deceptively familiar objects and unravels a wonderful world of astonishing connections, fascinating science and history, amazing people, and a whole lot of surprising big ideas and insights. You will only find this show on Disney Plus, and for fans of Jeff Goldblum, this is an intriguing series that will help you get to know the enigma that is Jeff Goldblum. 8. Lady the Tramp. This adorable live-action retelling of the animated classic from the 1950s tells the love story between a pampered cocker spaniel named Lady and a streetwise mongrel named Tramp. Lady and the Tramp is a lovely family-friendly movie. It's simple, but effective. It's not anything groundbreaking or original. It might not have worked at the cinema, but it's the perfect Disney Plus movie, as it's a fun, enjoyable film to sit down at home, grab some snacks, pull the blanket over, since it's fun, full of cute dogs, and has a simple love story. 7. Shop Class. A new competition series featuring teams of young builders, who are tasked with designing, building, and testing unique creations. In each episode, a panel of experts will evaluate and test their work based on design creativity and build functionality. In the finale episode, one team will be named Shop Class Champs, a fun competition series the whole family can watch together. 6. Legend of the Three Caballeros. This animated series featuring Donald Duck, J.A. Tilda Cubed Carioca, and Pancito Pistols is only available on Disney Plus. The trio find themselves inheritors of a heroic legacy, and resume their ancestors' quest with the aid of a valiant Greek goddess. While this series technically isn't a Disney Plus original, the only place you can see it is on Disney Plus. 5. Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The 7th season of the show is a Disney Plus exclusive and fills in the story between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, where Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu, and other Jedi Knights lead the Grand Army of the Republic against the droid army of the Separatists. Plus, there are over 100 episodes from previous seasons, making this one of the most binge-worthy shows on Disney Plus. 4. Imagineering Story. Easily my favorite series on Disney Plus. Explore the past, present and future of Walt Disney Imagineering with noted filmmaker Leslie Iwerks. Miss Iwerks comes from a family with deep Disney history. Her grandfather was an early Disney animator and her father is a former Imagineer, and her previous work includes profiles of Pixar Animation Studios and visual effects house Industrial Light Magic. The entire series is now available on Disney Plus and is a must for any Disney theme park fan. 3. High School Musical. The series, a group of East High students count down to the opening night of their school's first-ever production of High School Musical. Showmances blossom, friendships are tested while new ones are made, rivalries flare, and lives are changed forever as these young people discover the transformative power that only a high school drama club can provide. This is one series not to skip. 2. Togo. Togo is the untold true story set in the winter of 1925 that takes you across the treacherous terrain of the Alaskan tundra for an exhilarating and uplifting adventure that will test the strength, courage, and determination of one man, Leonhard Cipolla, and his lead sled dog, Togo. This is easily my favorite Disney Plus original movie and will certainly give your heartstrings a tug. You might need some tissues. I did. 1. Star Wars: The Mandalorian. This is without doubt the most popular Disney Plus original, and one of the main reasons people have subscribed to Disney Plus is for Star Wars, The Mandalorian. This is the first live-action Star Wars series and is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. The entire first season is now available on Disney Plus, so it's a perfect time to sit back and find out what all the fuss is about regarding Baby Yoda. What Disney Plus original is your favorite? Roger has been a Disney fan since he was a kid, and this interest has grown over the years. He has visited Disney parks around the globe and has a vast collection of Disney movies and collectibles. He is the owner of What's on Disney Plus Disc Kingdom. Email roger@whatsondisneyplus.com. Twitter, twitter.com/ragpalmeruk. Facebook, facebook.com/ragpalmeruk. Roger Palmer has 21,600 posts and counting. Share this post. Principal cast: William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, Skander Keynes, Georgie Henley, Liam Neeson, Tilda Swinton, James McAvoy, Ray Winstone, Dawn French, Kieran Shaw, Jim Broadbent, Elizabeth Hawthorne, James Cosmo, Michael Madsen, Patrick Cake, Shane Ringy, Rupert Everett. Synopsis: 4 kids travel through a wardrobe to the land of Narnia and learn of their destiny to free it with the guidance of a mystical lion. With the literary success of both Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter both making juggernaut cinematic franchises at the dawn of the new millennium, Hollywood studios quickly cast their eyes towards other classic works of fiction to see which, if any, might make blockbuster coin at the box office. Disney ventured into the territory of C.S. Lewis' classic children's series involving the mysterious land of Narnia, based on the writer's books and the fact that he was a contemporary of J.R.R. Tolkien himself. The first installment of the big-budget Narnia franchise, the clumsily titled The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, lifts much of Lewis' original text line for line, expands the relative sparse material and ratchets up the intended awe by lavishing incredible effects and really expensive production design at the classic story. What's troubling to me is that a film with so much attention put into it can feel so hollow and empty. The 4 young Pevensie children are sent to stay in the country whilst London is being bombed during the Blitz. During World War II, whilst at the estate of Professor Kirk, Jim Broadbent, the found youngsters accidentally stumble into a mysterious wardrobe, a wardrobe which functions as a portal to the astonishing world of Narnia. Peter, William Moseley, Susan, Anna Popplewell, the malcontent Edmund, Skylar Keynes, and the sweet and innocent youngest, Lucy, George Henley, meet all manner of creatures in Narnia, including a fawn, Mr. Tumnus, James McAvoy, Father Christmas, James Cosmo, a pair of friendly beavers, Ray Winstone and Dawn French, as well as the great lion who created the world, Aslan, Liam Neeson, and the White Witch, Tilda Swinton, who wishes to enslave it by turning its inhabitants to stone. The 4 children discover that they are the rightful heirs to the 4 thrones of Narnia, and so gather an army to battle the forces of the White Witch to save the land. You have to wonder how many people would be aware that C.S. Lewis was a converted Christian, and as such devoted a lot of time in his writings to developing themes of faith and iconography that allegories biblical teachings. Probably not as many as one suspects. The Narnia books, originally published in the 1950s, have previously been adapted on both television, radio and stage, with Disney staking their claim as the first to transport audiences to the fantasy world on the big screen, kicking off with the first published novel, The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe, as their opening salvo. Although the other 6 books arguably wrap around wardrobe in terms of chronology, Disney's decision to commence with the most famous of all Lewis' Narnia texts proved salient indeed. The film raked in a whopping $750 million, garnered positive critical acclaim and swept to Oscar glory, snagging the Best Makeup category for the 2005 calendar year. With all this positivity going for it, how do I struggle to find much good to say about it? The film flounders with its central themes. The story opens with the fractured family, weaves in a sense of isolation, finding one's path and angry betrayal, before climaxing with a muddled, wide-screen fantasy battle in the New Zealand landscapes upon which original Shrek director Andrew Adamson placed his cameras. Adamson's first live-action film, The Lion the Witch the Wardrobe is opulent, big-budget and utterly confused as to whatever point it's trying to make. The paucity of literary depth to Lewis' original book, which is really quite thin on the ground in terms of defining characters beyond Edmund, Peter and Lucy, forced the screenwriters Ian Peacock, Adamson, and eventual Avengers Infinity War scribes Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely to flesh out these well-known roles with a little more depth than their genesis previously gave us. Problematically, it fails to develop any real thematic weight despite the best intent of all involved, thwarting the film's aggressively action-oriented style to really matter where it counts. Oh, it's earnest enough, sure, but there's a stiffness, a distance between script and screen that undercuts the simplistic story beats and makes them harder to invest in than they should be. The film hangs on the quality of its central performances, notably the 4 young actors chosen for the key roles of Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy. The kids do a good job, but their lack of chemistry together or on the screen in these difficultly indifferent roles shows throughout the film. Georgie Henley is easily the most watchable, all cute and innocent as Lucy, but a surprise package in Skander Kane's as Edmund, who takes on the thoroughly unlikable lad and runs with it, is also a solid job. William Moseley has the good looks but cannot muster the grace or gravitas he needs as Peter. Peter always struck me as a vaguely Aragorn-esque leader role, and the film's climactic battle between all manner of fantasy beasts invites him to rise up to the challenge as a leader, but Moseley struggles with the occasion. Sadly, Anna Popplewell, while gorgeous as Susan, feels like a fifth wheel. Her character arc is the least interesting in the entire film, and she spends more time as a chaperone or motherly figure haranguing her siblings than she does investing in herself. Kids aside, Tilda Swinton is in a class of her own as the White Witch. Jade is, and at times also appears to be acting in a completely different film altogether. Swinton's ubiquitous cookiness has found her in hot demand throughout Hollywood, but for me she's miscast here. Her harsh features and the film's extraordinary costuming do her a disservice, and I didn't really ever buy her as a genuine villain despite the creatures she turned to stone throughout. There's something off about her here, something I didn't buy into, and as classy an actress as she is, really, her best villain role to date remains in Snowpiercer. I think a different name should have been cast. James McAvoy turns in a sweet shot at cloven-hooved Mr. Tumnus. Lord of the Rings trilogy scale double Kieran Shaw has a significant on-screen role as Jada's dwarf servant, Jin Arbrike, and James Cosmo makes a nice Santa cameo work. Voice work by Ray Winstone, Don French, Michael Madsen and Rupert Everett, as various old digital animalia of Narnia, provide moments of fear and humor alternatively, and Jim Broadbent once more old mans himself through a paycheck role as the venerable professor who may know more about Narnia than he lets on. Of course, everyone's favorite allegorical god figurehead, the giant Linus Lin, is voiced by Liam Neeson, and to a fault the digital animation is nothing short of mediocre, especially in 2019, over a decade since the film released and visual effects have become more wizard-like. Still, the effect of Aslan's appearance on screen is great, a literary icon wrought by pixels and processors as only 2005 computer power can achieve. Neeson is one of only a few obvious choices for the role. James Earl Jones had his shot with Aslan-esque Mufasa back in 1994, and he nails the emotional connection of the role. The Lion, the Witch the Wardrobe came out when The Lord of the Rings had concluded and the Harry Potter films were gathering steam, and in truth it can't match either property for conviction of concept, or execution of storytelling. Andrew Adamson's direction is stately without bringing the awe, enthusiastic without a sense of fun, and prolonged for no reason other than to stretch out an altogether paper-thin story to a full 2 hours. Honestly, I could just read the book faster than watch this film. It's not that the film is bad or the filmmakers missed their marks, because for all intents and purposes they achieved exactly what C.S. Lewis wrote on the page a half-century earlier. The film just feels empty, devoid of the passion the entire thing is predicated upon. A fascinating visual effects extravaganza that ultimately meanders along with characters we struggle to invest in. On an adventure that feels all too familiar yet staggeringly indifferent, The Lion, the Witch, the Wardrobe is expensively clumsy fantasy filmmaking that perforates the written word and succumbs to the weight of its own expectation. Non-discerning children will probably get a kick out of it, but adults will soon find themselves checking their watches. Rodney has been writing about films for well over 2 decades, appreciates a good wine, the love of his wife and kids, and the affection of his dog and cats. He has a fondness of cheesy 90s action and classic Hollywood, hates that physical media is disappearing, and wishes somebody would make a high-budget series of the never-ending story. Rodney has been writing about films for well over 2 decades, appreciates a good wine, the love of his wife and kids, and the affection of his dog and cats. He has a fondness of cheesy 90s action and classic Hollywood, hates that physical media is disappearing, and wishes somebody would make a high-budget series of the never-ending story. Rodney has been writing about films for well over 2 decades, appreciates a good wine, the love of his wife and kids, and the affection of his dog and cats. He has a fondness of cheesy 90s action and classic Hollywood, hates that physical media is disappearing, and wishes somebody would make a high-budget series of the never-ending story. C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe always seemed like the Lord of the Rings for Sunday schoolers, yet for the most part, Disney's lavish cinematic adaptation of the novel focuses less on its ever-present and distracting biblical allegory, which caused even Lewis's pal J.R.R. Tolkien some indigestion, and more on its magic and monsters fantasy. It's a futile tactic, though, as Andrew Adamson's film, while respectable, can't escape the lengthy shadow of Peter Jackson's Academy Award-winning Rings trilogy, proving incapable of approximating a suitably epic scale or an emotional or thematic resonance to sustain its out-of-this-world adventure from start to finish. And in the wake of last month's 4th Harry Potter installment, the sight of Cyclopes, Minotaurs, Centaurs, Ogres, Dwarfs, Fauns, and all types of talking forest animals, as well as the image of wide-eyed kids trying to come to terms with the extraordinary creatures before Thema merely elicits a disinterested ho-hum that's only moderately palliated by Tilda Swinton's malevolently icy performance as the White Witch, Narnia's would-be conqueror. Its CGI serviceable, Adamson's direction competent, and its young lead actors solid and largely affectation-free. Narnia's tale of 4 kids during Wii who stumble upon a wardrobe which allows them access to a wintry Never Land nonetheless persistently feels wearisomely familiar and slight. Despite Adamson and his 3 fellow screenwriters' their attempts to whitewash the story's more religious features, the film still never manages to fully escape its roots as a spiritual parable. And the devout, who've been setting up church-sponsored screenings around the country for the past month, will find significant Christian undercurrents to latch onto, primarily because Lewis's narrative was a model of unsubtle New Testament symbolism. When responsible Susan Pevensey, Anna Popplewell, tells younger sister Lucy, Georgie Henley, that a wardrobe can't operate as an interdimensional portal because logically, it's impossible, the unspoken implication you gotta have faith hangs heavily in the air. Once in Narnia, the kids quickly find themselves at the center of an impending war between the satanic White Witch and Christ-like Aslan, voiced by Liam Neeson, a virtuous lion who ultimately dies for the sins of Judas' Pevensey brother Edmund, Scander Cain's as well as for the good of Narnia, only to be reborn in time to conquer the forces of evil. To say that it's all more than a bit simplistic and heavy-handed would be a severe understatement, but there's no denying the unintentional hilarity of Aslan's overwrought death scene, in which he's bound, shaved, mocked by a screaming mob, and killed in some sort of surreal anthropomorphic PG version of the Passion of the Christ. Score. Cast: Georgie Henley, Scander Cains, William Moseley, Anna Popplewell, Tilda Swinton, James McAvoy, Jim Broadbent, Kieran Shaw, James Cosmo, Judy McIntosh, Elizabeth Hawthorne, Patrick Cake director, Andrew Adamson screenwriter, Andrew Adamson, Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely, and Peacock distributor. Walt Disney Pictures running time, 135 minutes rating, PG year, 2005 by Video, Soundtrack, Book. If you can, please consider supporting Slant Magazine. Since 2001, we've brought you uncompromising, candid takes on the world of film, music, television, video games, theater, and more. Independently owned and operated publications like Slant have been hit hard in recent years, but we're committed to keeping our content free and accessibly, meaning no paywalls or fees. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or making a donation.